Tämä on se Latio Robin Hoodi.
So welcome, and yeah, I will give really shortly explain what is StepEurope about. So we are international youth organization from Turku, and having local and international actions. And the aim is to activate young people to develop their ideas, create nice events, and also trainings internationally. And we want that the youths are getting more competencies for their life in generally and work life, and going forward in their life and finding their place in society. And what our local actions are, for example, these kind of workshops, what we are having today, seminars, then we are having just afternoon coffees where they can just gather together, have a cup of coffee and chat, and then a bit bigger events like restaurant day this Saturday in Vimma, and then we have Suomi or Finland 100 year celebration also 1st of December. Those are the biggest events which are coming now. Then there is some a bit smaller workshops and meetings. So even we are a youth organization, we are open for everyone. You can come and plan activities with us and bring your ideas on the table, and we will try to figure out how to make it come true. And then I can promote also, we are going to have a nice international training about migration and asylum seeking issues on December for youth from 7 different European countries, and that's also a big event of the year. But I think that's about us. More information you can find from our website and our Facebook page, which we are updating constantly. There is also links to our blogs and nice pictures and stuff. So yeah, welcome to our organization. I think I will give the stage now for Ahmed and Omar, who are in charge of the workshop.
Yeah, Ahmed.
Yeah.
Yes. Hello, this is Ahmed Zaidan, a poet and journalist from Iraq. Today I will give a workshop about media literacy. So we will have our workshop about media literacy and media, yes. First, we have to, if you want to understand media literacy, we have to go to have a glimpse on media. What do we mean by media? For what extent do we need media in our life? How often do we see and hear media messages in our life? So if you are using social media and you enjoy using it and if you are talking about topics in social media, then this workshop is fitting for you. Media, we will go now and to talk about the define media, because this is the key words in media literacy. We have to understand what do we mean by media. So the first thing we gonna do is to talk about media and what do we mean by media. Media, it is like a very common word. We use it and hear it very often in our life. We see and hear media everywhere. But what do we mean by it? Media as a term or as a word in the past used to be a plural, not a singular, because now we treat it as a singular. Like media is, in the past they used to say media are, but semantically, like grammatically they used to say, but nowadays we say media is, but semantically we mean that media are. Because media is the many ways or the different channels or ways in which news, entertainment, marketing, messages or the other information is spread, is conveyed. conveyed. So this is like a very basic definition about media. What do we mean by media? It is like the channels or ways, methods in which information, entertainment, and news, advertisement is spread of. So here we have like this is the like true words, like when we referred about it like as a singular, but semantically it means it is a plural. This is it is as the case with many words in English, like agenda, like other words like data. Data is mean like it's like semantically means it is a plural, but grammatically it's a singular. Right, Omar? Yes. So what are the types of media? We start from the oldest type of media, which is the vocally media, and then we developed and we had like the written media, the print media. So the media had emerged since the early time in the history. Like people were using the spoken media or the vocal media, when in Arabic world, like there was a market called Okav. This market is for poetry and for people to show their things, to tell about the things. There is a central, in the central of Mecca. This is what's known as the central part for Muslims people. So there people used to gather, and then when there is a news, this story is conveyed, and people will understand. So the media centers was formed before, like from the beginning. People needed to hear media, and then we even I have heard like about like the Olympic Games in Greece, like they used to promote it, like they used to promote it in the print media, like I mean the written media. Like people used to read, they have promotion, they have advertisement before the Olympic Games started. So, and media goes hand in hand with very basic things, which is our technology, our development, our progress. Media goes hand in hand in so many different ways. So we jumped from the print media to radio and TV and then to internet. But hey, when we go to internet, here we are going to have a new kind of media. We are going to have the mass media. What do we mean by mass media? Mass media is when too many people are listening, are receiving the same media messages in the same time or at the same time. So here, like there are, for instance, like just assume that you are watching a program on TV, and then there are millions of people are watching the same program that they are watching. This is the mass media. Here that's why we see like in social media, even the social media is part of the mass media. In social media, that are many people who are willing to separate themselves to be deployed all over the world, because they are entering the mass media zone. This is the very important when we are talking about that. There are many people who are, because when they have entered the mass media zone, they are very valuable people. Now the companies, the enterprises will ask them for advertisement, because they have many audience. Because media always targets many people as much as it can. This is one of the media purposes. So mass media we talked about, and then we go to another topic in our media literacy. We talk, why do we see and hear, where do we see and hear media messages? Where do we hear and see media messages? Have you asked yourself these questions? We see and hear media messages almost everywhere. Not almost, but indeed everywhere. For example, we are sitting in this room, but how many media messages are there here? We look at the walls, we see like labels, we see some paintings, we see artistic words. All of these are media messages. All of this, there is a messages in that, and they want to send some idea, and they want us to capture the idea and follow them. So this is the media messages. Media messages are everywhere. We basically newspapers, radio, TV, internet shows, and etc. Internet and etc. So it is important to learn. It is important to learn in this respect how to understand and analyze the messages being sent to us through the different channels. The different channels which are the media itself. So we define media as the ways and channels in which information, entertainment, stories, news are conveyed. So here, this leads us to a topic of media literacy. Here we are almost arriving at the topic of media literacy. What impact does the media have on people's everyday life? This is very important question, significant. What impact does the media have on people's everyday life? Well, from a day-to-day basis, the media helps people to feel that they are a bigger part of their community, their country, and the world. So when we are using media, for example, why do we use Facebook? Why do we use Twitter? Why do we use social media? In order to feel that we are not alone. This is part of the media purposes. We feel that we are not alone. We use Facebook, we use Twitter, we use other social media channels. But also, we need to feel that we are part of the community. We need to feel that we are part of the world. We need to feel what's going on around us. So this is one of the media. This is one of the media purposes. Why do we use media? Why do we intend to enlarge our usage of media? And it is important. We use media because we need to get information, to get educated. It helps us to make decisions that are potentially better ones in our lives. And also, one of the positive sides of using media, it is to be interacted with media, and is one of the main purposes of to be interacted with media is the ability to be educated. Because how? If we make a research, we will find many people who understood media, I don't mean media, but they are more educated than the people who are in the past, because simply they are surrounded by different channels of media, and these different channels are informing people what's going on in the world. So they are educated. So one of the media purposes is a positive, effects of the media is to be educated and to have a better life. So here, for example, I have here what another sides of the media, the dark side of the moon, the dark side of media effects on us. One of the things that everyone interacting with media should consider is the quality of particular media outlet. Because of technology, there is an easy way for everybody to put up messages online and to speak out loud. This is very dangerous. It is okay. We can get benefit of this. We can get the news. You can be more educated. But in the same time, we have to be very, very aware of the media messages and what is their purpose after the message being sent to us. But how do we recognize that this message is bad or good? How do we know? It is important to remember always to take the quality of media outlets. What is the quality of media outlets or the media source? They have the same opinion as you. They might have the same opinion as you. They might agree with you in your messages, in your opinion, in your point of view. We'll discuss or we'll explain what do we mean by points of view, and they are following, but unfortunately they are not following any kind of journalistic integrity and a journalistic style. There is also an issue of saturation of messaging. This is and misinformation. Misinformation is like triggered by the bad media outlets. Or saturation along those lines are negative quality of media. So here we tend to speak about what have been changed in media over time. This is like a profound question. What have been changed in media, and what have changed in media over time? Does media change, like when it started until up to now? What happened with media? Is media the same like media was produced in like 4,000 years ago and now? Here, in order to answer this question, like there are things that not have changed in media, and there are things that changed in media. But what are the things that changed in media? Yes.
Can I have a question?
Yeah.
Or ask a question? What was the word they were using for media? I think they were not using media as a explanation earlier. Do you know what has been word for similar concept?
Not I don't know like that what they had used in the past like for media, but it's like they use like media as a plural, not singular like we use now, but it means like a
Okay.
Do you know it?
No, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
It is a media. Now I would tell you like is to make it more clear now. Clear the things more. Like there are things that as I've mentioned, that things that have changed in media and things that haven't been changed in media. The things that we started from the things that haven't been changed in media. The things that haven't been changed in media since the beginning is the core of media, is the message of the media. That has people use media to promote their things, to tell, to send message, to send their thoughts, to let people know about what's going on in the world, or to like this what I've mentioned that haven't been changed since the beginning. But the things that have been changed in media is like the ways, the mechanism media is conveyed to us. So they are the purpose of media content of messages have not been changed, as I mentioned, but the aim, but of course like the mechanism is changed. Like people moved from using the vocal media to, as I mentioned in the beginning, from vocal media to print media, and then to radio and internet, to radio and TV, and then internet. So, and everything is getting faster and faster and faster. So this is like we go to the third part of our workshop, which is media literacy. Media literacy. Now, after we have understood what do we mean by media and how media is conveyed, now we have to understand, and now we have to have a glimpse on media literacy. What do we mean by media literacy? Media literacy is the ability to understand, analyze, and create with written language. This is the meaning of media literacy. Part of literacy is analyzing the text. Analyzing means looking at something carefully, very carefully, and in order to understand. For example, I read in this example. For example, when you learn how to write things in Arabic, when you learn how to read the characters in Arabic language. Yes, how to read things in Arabic language, then you are when you delivered a newspapers in Arabic, and you know already how to read, but when you get the newspaper in Arabic and then you read the newspaper, but you wouldn't understand a word from the newspaper, or you understand a few words in the newspaper, that doesn't mean that you are illiterate in Arabic language. It means that you are still illiterate in Arabic language. In order Or, I mean, not, sorry, it means that you are not a literate in Arabic language. In order to be a literate in Arabic language, you need to read, understand, analyze, and create a text. 3 things. To read, understand, analyze, and create the text. This is important. So, for example, the case with the case with media is when we read a text. Then we have the ability to read the text, we have the ability to understand, we have the ability to analyze the elements of the text, and then we have the ability to create the text as well. This is that means we are literate in media. So media literacy is important in that respect. Okay, for another example, like how to, like the literacy term is used. For example, we say that someone who knows how to use computer, someone who knows how to use computer is a computer literate because he knows how to use computer. He's a computer literate. So if you know how to use media, you are a media literate. If you know, but what makes you a media literate? To read, to understand, to analyze, and to create a text. In that respect, you are a media literate. That's why we need a media literacy. In media, it's important to read the messages and to analyze them and to understand the purpose behind them, and also to ask ourselves about the people who made the messages. We have like the 4th part of our workshop or lecture, whatever. If media is in English, how I make sure that I understand the whole message? We can review the text in 4 steps. In order to understand the text, we have to look, or we need to look at the title of the text. We need to look at the pictures, and we need to read the captions here and the subheading and the first paragraph. So we start from the looking at the title of the text. For example, we can separate facts from fictions. And what do we already know about the topic? We have to ask ourselves these questions. What do we already know about the topics? Where are the difference between facts and opinions? What are the difference between facts and opinions? And the title is the first key that prepare us to understand the text. So if we want if we read a text, English text, and we don't understand it, how do we understand this text? We need to take into our consideration these 4 elements to read, like the title of the text, and we see the picture and the caption under the picture and the subheading and then the first paragraph in the text. So the title was the first key to prepare us to understand the text as mentioned, and also we have the caption. But what do we mean by caption? Caption is very important, very common in media world. Caption is the words or the sentences right below a picture that give us more information about the picture. So if I have I can give you examples, like when we see like a picture, and then when we see a picture of this people who are in the boat, and they are in the middle of the sea and they are heading to Europe. What do you think the caption is going to be under it? Or you watch the picture, you see the picture, and it takes you partially or partly to the core of the text. You see the picture and then you interpret. You will. It's gradually. You will understand from the picture. You will understand the meaning of the text. You will understand the meaning of the caption, and this is one of the things. And also we read the captions and also the subheading and the first paragraph in the text. We reached like the 5th part of our lecture here. How can we analyze media messages. Because I have mentioned in the beginning of the lecture, like when we want to understand, when we want to have to be illiterate in media, we have to read and analyze. One of the things is analyzing media messages. How can we analyze media messages? How can we analyze media messages? In order to answer these questions, we have to pass through many questions as well, to ask ourselves many questions. And if we have answered about those questions, we will be like qualified to understand how can we analyze media messages, who created like the message that's being sent to us. This is the first questions of how can we analyze media messages. Like who created the message that is being sent to us. Okay, we look at these questions and we have like the key word. The key word in this question is to create. Omar. Right?
Okay.
Yes. The key word in this question, who created the message that is being sent to us? Who created? We got to create it. Who created the messages being sent to us? Like the created or create is the key word in this question. The create means to make or to rebuild or to build. Like all media messages made by people, by someone. And those people make choice what to include in the media and what not to include. I give you example. Okay, this is a fine example about what include in media messages and what is not included. Like here, like who created the media messages. Yeah. So when you watch a TV show, you might see a 15 seconds video clip. The complete video, but the complete video might be 25 minutes long. But someone decided to like put only 15 seconds clip. And he decided or she decided that this clip, 15 seconds clip, is enough to include the image and the message and everything. Here we are, when we see this, we understand why. Like for example, we might watch a war movie, but we see the trial of the movie. It can like goes in very different ways. For example, like this movie, it is about war. But when we want to address like guys who are motivated, we will put this violence and powerful scenes in the movie, and then we will motivate guys to go to the war, as it happened exactly in the United States before their wars, like simply before the wars against Iraq, like people were watching short movies or short films or clips from long movies and on the big screens in the streets, and they decided to take the violence, the brave soldier and the scenes of being hero, to put this everything on the big screens and to motivate guys, to motivate youth people or the young people to go to war. But when we want to address females, for example, we wouldn't take from the war movies. We wouldn't take like the violent scenes, but we will rather take the scenes that talk about romantic stuffs, like how he moved, because every movies there is this stuffs, how he's far away from his family, how he's far away from his beloved one, and how he's missing the soldier, I mean. And this, in that respect, we address like the females, but when we address like the males who are motivated, we want to attract them toward, of course we will put the violent scenes and the scenes that always attract guys to go to the war. Okay, another like how can we analyze media messages? Another point. What techniques were used to attract my attention? We have to ask ourselves, or we need to ask ourselves these questions. What techniques were used to attract my attention? A technique is, what do we mean by technique first? The technique, or a technique, is the manner or method in which something is done. So in this respect, we mean the techniques. When media create messages, they use certain techniques to capture people's attentions, and the attentions of their audience, of course. In media, that media sometimes uses like a humor or comedy to attract people to their message. They also use certain sample or words. So like we see, like I give you example now, the techniques we analyze. For this is the second point, the important point, the crucial point in media, and in analyzing media, what techniques were used to attract my opinion. So here it is like when we watch the programs nowadays, the comics programs, when the programs that create sense of humor in the world, like Ahmed al-Bashir in al-Bashir show, for example, in Arabic world, and other Basim Yusuf in Egypt. Also, they use the sense of humor. This is the techniques they are using to attract people to their messages. That's because they know sense of humor and the comedy that can attract so many people in the world. They can attract a lot of audience. So that's why we see a countless number of people who have like shows like Al-Bashir show, like Basim Yusuf and other shows in the world that is based on comedy, based on sense of humor, based on others like comic. So it is important to look at the techniques. Also nowadays we talk about the techniques in the same respect, in the same field. Nowadays in the UK, media uses spoken words. This is a techniques, spoken words to promote, for example, in advertisement. In advertisement, and you know, advertisement is ways of conveying things or separating thoughts and separating media messages. So in the UK, people use the spoken words, or media uses the spoken words actually to promote something. And even in Egypt, it has been used for a certain time. Like the spoken words, because they are very easy to be memorized, very easy to be like, it's the enjoyment to have some advertisement with the spoken words. Also, not only the spoken words, not only the comic, not only the comedy, all that things. We have the certain we can use to promote our things. We can use some other techniques, like we can use a certain color, certain image, certain character. For example, when we look at the S market, we use like the S is written in a different way because and there is a message. Why did they write the S in this way? When we look at other like titles, we see like some of the characters is written in different way with different colors. This can create media messages as well, and can create a techniques to capture the people's attention. So what is the goal of using that? The goal of using that is to make media consumer. The media consumer is the person who's receiving media. Who we are media consumers. We are consuming a lot of media every day. We are consuming newspapers. We are consuming like labels everywhere. Even in the bathroom, when you look at the shampoo, you will see media messages written on the shampoo. When you look at the soap, media messages. You take your toothpaste. There is media messages everywhere. So here they intend to make the consumer of media reading or continuing to be interacting with this message until the end. This is important. So they might write something in so beautiful way. Also, here we have in how can we analyze media. We started with who created the media that is being sent to us, what techniques were used to attract our attentions. Here another technique, here another point, how do we analyze media messages? How might other people understand or interpret the same message? How might other people understand or interpret the message in different way? This is like in other words. When two people exactly like see or hear the same message, they may understand or interpret that message differently. But why? Me and you, we both see the same media message. But I am sure that you have another understanding. You have another understanding than me. But why do we have this diversity in understanding for media messages? This is simply because people understand message differently, because each person interprets messages based on age, culture, gender, and belief. Important, belief. So that's why we have different ways of reading media messages, and this has to be taken into consideration later when the media people, or the people who create media, they take into considerations these respects: age, gender, culture, and belief. So they know who to address. The fourth point, how to analyze our media messages, is what points of view and values are included or omitted from this message. We have to look at the text and we have to ask ourselves what are included and what are omitted from this text. What is included, what is omitted from this message. But first we have to understand, because we mentioned like points of view. What do we mean by point of view? Point of view is the way in which person sees the world. It is based on person's beliefs in life and experiences. So here we have the definition of points of view, and we have to look at media message like a newspaper text, and we have to ask ourselves what is included, what is omitted from this text, and then once we did that, then we will analyze. We will be more able to analyze the media messages. But what do we mean by values as well? Because we talked about the points of views, and values are included and omitted from these media messages. A value is something that a person, an organization thinks is very important. This is a value. Political values or religious values, for example, like in our world, like when you listen or when you read a media from Al Jazeera, when you receive this media, you can tell easily that this media, what are the values these media are believing in. Or when you look media from Al-Iraqiyya channel from Iraq, you can understand that this media believe in this kind of values. This is the values that we mean, in other words, this media is a pro-government media. But when we look at Al Jazeera, we will understand that this media is anti-Iraqi government media. When for example, Al Hurra channel is a channel which was founded by the Americans in Iraq after 2003. When we receive the media messages from Al Hurra channel, we will tell very easily that this channel has values. The values is to support the American in Iraq, and their values is to build new Iraq based on freedom and this stuffs, etc. The same as always the American speech. So the values that is included in media messages, and points of view also. So another, which is the final message to analyze the media text, we should ask ourselves, why was this message sent to us? Important. Why was this message sent to us? Media often send messages to give the audience information or to convince them to buy a product or to simply to entertain them. For all media, this is important and crucial. For all media channels, for all media ways, or for all media like people, the larger purpose is usually to make money. To make money or to gain power. Media purposes. Why do we have media? Why people have channels? Why they are spending money for their channels? Where they are doing like tremendous efforts? They have companies. They're paying salaries. Why do they have that? Why do we have a giant media establishment in the world? This is for reason. There is a reason. It is to gain money, gain more money, or to gain power. To make money or to gain power. So we have media this media was founded to make people believe it, to convince people in a political character or in the same ideology, like the media which is founded in Iraq before 2003. That this media, like the same media in the. Okay, I can talk a little bit about Mosul. Like in Mosul, when Mosul was under ISIS, they knew the importance of media. That's why they created media centers everywhere. Like you go, there were stalls. The stalls were media stalls, and this is like hadn't happened before in Iraq. Media stalls, like people can go and watch for free. They can watch the videos of ISIS, the ISIS video, which were well done, and people will then ISIS will be very confident that they delivered their thoughts to people, and people will think, okay, even if people think that there is not a true what ISIS are doing, what ISIS are telling through their medias, it is not true, it's completely wrong. But what is happening? People would believe because they are seeing and hearing, as if it is the same case when you see a movie. For example, we see a movie and you know that it's an illusion. It's only a movie, but you start to cry if there is a sorrow in movie and there is a very sad scene. You cry on the movie and you know that it is only acting. It is the same with media. So that's why that ISIS focused on media very, very good, because they are addressing people's minds in Mosul, and they made people like inner mind create these very long issues. I'm not going into it because I don't have like the enough knowledge to qualify me to go into these topics of the inner mind. So people with always afraid and with always like their inner mind, like giving them messages that those people are strong, those people are, but while they weren't so. Example on North Korea, the big screens on. And you see the president, he's the strongest in the world, and they are the best country in the world, and all the world are against them because they are the best. All the world is against them because they are the best country in the world, and they are. This is what we mean by media messages. They create this public message to people and to make people believe that all the world is the regime. All the world, out of this regime, there is only corruption. There is only abuse. So this is the case. What happened in Iraq? I supposed to give some glimpse about writing, but I don't think that we have enough time to talk about writing tools. So I will postpone it while I can, or if you want, I can talk very briefly about writing tools, how we start with. But I think we should move to Omar to understand more about media in dictator country. So as we talked about why was this message sent to us, and I talked about for all media, the main purpose, the larger purpose is usually to make money or to gain power. I just a preview what this is important. How can we analyze media messages? We have to ask ourselves these questions. Who created the message that is being sent to us? Second question, what techniques were used to attract my attention? Another question, the third question, how might other people understand or interpret this message differently? Fourth question, what points of view and values are included or omitted from this message? The fifth question, why was this message sent to us?